Thank you for tuning in to another episode of NBA Talk with Jaywalk. I'm your host, Jonah Walkenfoos, and we are going to be doing some round 2 matchups for the NBA playoffs, and we may be going on a little bit of a rant about these two teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs, so make sure to stay tuned. Okay, so welcome to podcast number 8, and if you're tuning in on YouTube, this is the very first episode of my podcast. This is my very first podcast episode on YouTube, so bear with me. I'm getting used to being on camera. Throughout time, I'm going to be getting a little better throughout time, so just bear with me. Give me any tips to help me to get better. You'll probably see an intro video before this episode is uploaded on YouTube, just so you could get to know me a little more. And by the way, if you want to know, like, if there's any like suggestions for my like background for this like podcast, just let me know. Like, should I do a green screen? Should I just have like pictures back here? Like, let me know what I should have. But let's get right into it. So the NBA playoffs have been underway for a couple of weeks now, just about a month it feels like. And we're already in the second round of the playoffs, which is insane to think about. But we've got all the matchups now. And so let's talk about the Western Conference first. So we're going to be seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder going against the Dallas Mavericks, which are the number 5 seed. This is going to be a tough series for the Thunder and for the Magic. The Thunder obviously started off a little slow as they were playing the Pelicans in the first round. The first game looked a little scary for the Thunder, but overall, I think the Thunder ended up playing a lot better as the series went on, just so they could get a little bit of, as the series went on, just because, you know, they're young. They're not used to the playoffs as much, so just the opportunity to be able to go out there and just play tough and then finish the series in 4 is a really big thing, especially as they're going to be able to get rest for this series. And then the Nuggets will be playing the number 3 Timberwolves, which actually game 1 already happened, and the Timberwolves actually surprised a lot of people by taking it. I think first off, the Thunder and Mavericks series, I think that series is probably going to go to 6 or 7. I think a lot of people may think, oh, it's the number 1 seed. There's no way they're going to lose this series, right? Well, I think this Mavericks team is incredibly underrated. I think Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving have been an incredible duo. They've been working very well together. And I do believe that they're going to be able to make this a series. I do think the Thunder will win in 6 games, just for the fact of this Thunder team is so deep. They've got, obviously, their great starting lineup. They've got an MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then, you know, on the bench, they got players like Isaiah Joe and stuff like that. Like, they've got great depth. I think that's going to kill the Mavericks, especially since the Mavericks don't have the greatest depth, especially for scoring. But yeah, I do believe that's going to be one of the better series in round 2. But overall, I think every series is going to be good. Then we got the Nuggets and Timberwolves. Obviously, Timberwolves up 1-0 as of today, which is Monday, May 6th of 2024. So they do play again tonight in Denver. I do believe Denver will tie it up tonight, but I think this series is going to go to 7. I don't think this series is going to be an easy series for either team. I think the Nuggets this last game kind of overlooked, or you could say underlooked, the Timberwolves, where they were kind of underestimating what the Timberwolves can really do. And I think this was kind of a wake-up call for the Nuggets, especially after winning a championship. And, I mean, they did beat the Timberwolves last year in a series, but this Timberwolves team is hungry, and they did not come to mess around this year. They are here to win a championship. But I think the Nuggets will still win in 7. Obviously, if the Timberwolves win tonight, though, that could be a big difference. But for now, I do believe the Nuggets will win this series in 7. And then let's look at the Eastern Conference now. So for the Eastern Conference, we have the Celtics versus the Cavaliers. So this is going to be an interesting series because the Magic and Cavs went to 7, and the home team won every single game in that series. That's a dangerous thing for the Cavs to look at because this Cavs team is good, but this Celtics team is just better. Like, I think the Celtics are going to win in 5. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to have one of those games where he had this last series, which he was going off. I mean, he's going to have like a 40-point, maybe 50-point game in one of these games in the series, and then they're going to end up pulling it off. But I think Boston's too strong. They've got way better depth. They've got a better starting lineup. They've got just their stardom and stuff, and all their stars are just better. I think the Celtics just look a lot more polished this season compared to last season, and I think the Celtics are going to get it done in 5. And then we have the Knicks versus Pacers. Obviously, the Pacers surprising a lot of people by beating the Bucks. Didn't really surprise me, not for the fact that I think the Bucks are just not good. I think the Bucks were just not healthy. And the fact that the Bucks weren't healthy really hurt them in their playoff chances, especially with Giannis out for a lot of games. Well, actually the whole series. And then obviously Damian Lillard was out a couple games as well. And Chris Middleton couldn't get it done, especially as that Pacers team is very offensive heavy. And towards the end of the season, the back end of the season, the Pacers really started to pick it up defensively. So we saw a little more of that. I do believe, though, that the Knicks will win this series in 5. I also believe that the Indiana Pacers will get a game done. Tyrese Halliburton, he's probably going to have like a 15-point, 16-assist game with Siakam going for like 30 points. So I think the Pacers have a great offense. I just don't think they're going to be able to beat a Tom Thibodeau run defensive team, and Jalen Brunson has been picking it up lately, so I don't know. I think the Knicks, they're going to be able to win this series pretty easily. So then that would leave in the conference finals for the West, the Thunder versus the Nuggets, and then it would leave the Celtics versus Knicks. So it'd be the 1 and 2 matchup, so it's kind of boring based off of what I think, but I think this could be a great playoff series, and just rest of playoffs in general. So I'm excited to see what matchups these are, and I hope all of these series go to 7, but obviously that's just me. Some people, obviously, if you're like a Nuggets fan or a Thunder or whatever, you want them to sweep them, but that's not going to happen obviously for the Nuggets either. But anyways, let's kind of talk about 2 teams that they did lose pretty badly in the playoffs this year. If you don't know what those teams are, there are a couple other teams that did lose pretty badly, but the Suns and the Lakers. These are the 2 teams that most people are disappointed in, or at least for the Suns. I think for the Suns, I'm a little disappointed in them because they did play against a really good Timberwolves team, but there's no way they should have lost in 4 games. Like, there's no way they just got swept to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This Timberwolves team is great, but Phoenix has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. There's no way they should be losing this. There's no way they should be losing every single game in the series, and they ended up doing it. And that's a problem, because if we look at their free agency and kind of going into the offseason, Royce O'Neal's going to be a free agent. He's one of their key free agents, or like he's one of the key bench players that they have. He's one of the better bench players in the NBA, in my opinion. And then you got some player options. And if you guys don't know what a player option is, it's basically this, like, these players can choose to either opt into their contract where they will play one more season with the team, or they could opt out and then become unrestricted free agents, which means either the Suns will have to give them a bigger contract, or they're probably going to go to a different team. So those players are Eric Gordon, another key bench player, Josh Okogie, another key bench player, Drew Eubanks, another key bench player, and then you have Damian Lee, who's kind of the bench filler, but I mean, he's not bad, and I think he could be a very solid piece. I don't know. This Phoenix Suns team, I feel like they need to make a drastic change in their roster, and by that I mean you're going to have to trade one of your stars. I think the player you might want to trade the most is Bradley Beal, but I think that's the most unrealistic just because not a lot of teams are going to be looking at Bradley Beal with that contract and the way he produced this year. They're not going to be really looking at it like, oh, we want a player like Bradley Beal. So I think the most realistic has to be Kevin Durant. And if you want to trade Kevin Durant, you can get a decent haul for them. Like, teams are going to be calling if Kevin Durant's like put available by the Suns. Like, if the Suns make Kevin Durant available, teams are going to be calling immediately, especially those teams that are like, we need that one extra piece to push for the championship. And they're going to be willing to give up a haul for Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant's going to be that scorer. He also has solid defense. I mean, it's not the best, but it's very decent, feasible defense that'll help them win games. So overall, I think they got to do something, especially since they've traded a lot of their picks trying to get players like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. So they need to start building a young core. I think you got to keep Devin Booker. If all the 3 stars were to be traded and you had to keep one, I would keep Devin Booker. But overall, I think the Suns are in a tough position, especially after losing Monty Williams. They have a David Vogel, I believe, is their coach. I might be wrong. Okay, don't completely believe me on that one, but he's a coach. I do know he got fired from the Lakers a couple years ago because he was just not a great coach. And the fact that he's now trying to help the Suns team trying to win a championship is a big issue. So the Suns need to also, I think, look for a new coach. But overall, whatever. Now let's talk about a team that I wasn't disappointed in. I knew this was going to happen, but a lot of people are just putting a lot of people are freaking out about this, saying, oh, this team should have done better. The Los Angeles Lakers, which I don't know what people were thinking this Lakers team was going to be able to beat the Nuggets. I literally said it in I believe my last episode. This isn't even going to be a close series. It was a gentleman's sweep, 4-1. Like, the Nuggets took care of business. They made the Lakers think that they were going to have any chance, and then no. They just beat them, okay? Lakers, you guys need a new team, okay? Stop trying to blame your coach for all your problems. Okay, just take accountability and admit that this team doesn't work. And just trying to go out and trade for stars and trade all your young pieces and all your players that are going to just try to build for continuity, you just trade them away? And then you're going to scapegoat your coach for being the problem, for bad rotations? Your bench is players like Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a very streaky shooter. You got Jackson Hayes. He's not good at all. You've got Cam Reddish. He didn't even play. He's a bust. Okay? And that I don't even remember the rest, to be honest. Taurean Prince is a solid bench player, but Darvin Ham started him some games. But you can't blame Darvin Ham for that. He doesn't have the pieces to be able to go, oh, I'm going to put this person in the rotation because he's going to be better and he's going to help the team. Their team is just trash. Okay? Aside the starting lineup, the bench is awful. And the starting lineup wasn't even that great. Okay? And so the fact that they're just going to blame Darvin Ham for rotations is ridiculous because it's like, who are you going to play? Max Christie, who doesn't know how to score the basketball? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand where Lakers fans and just everybody's freaking out about how Darvin Ham messed this up because it's like, you lost 4-1. A coach's rotations does not change that fact. You blew many big leads, double-digit leads, almost every single game, and you lost, okay? So don't blame the coaching on that, okay? That's where you really have to hold accountable to the players because the Lakers have had multiple coaches over the past couple of years, and it's been the same result every single time. That is, in my opinion, is not coaching. That's the players. That's the players. The team's just not good, okay? So stop trying to scapegoat the coaches or other players. You blamed Westbrook last year. You traded him. You get to the conference finals with Darvin Ham, and you were praising him until this year. You know why? Because that team last year had some fight. I don't know. Everybody's blaming Darvin Ham. They fired him. They're going to hire a new coach, and it's probably going to be the same thing because the players just don't work. And you can't expect to trade for these stars and just give absolutely nothing to the team that's giving you the star. Like, the Lakers have been looking at players like Zach LaVine and Trae Young, and they're not willing to get rid of Austin Reeves. It's like, if you're not willing to get rid of Austin Reeves, the team's not going to want to negotiate with you. They don't want picks that are in 2027. Okay, they don't want that. If they're going to be trading their star, that realistically means they're going to go into a rebuild. And what did teams want to do when they rebuild? Gain picks, but not for 5 years in the future. They want picks now so they could build now. They don't want to just be trashed for 5 years. So Lakers, if you want to be able to get a star, here's some quick advice. You got to get rid of assets to get stars. It's like when you're in business. If you want to go out and market, you got to be able to you got to be able to spend some money to make some money. Especially, I don't know. Some notable free agents for the Lakers. LeBron James has a player option. There's a lot of talks he might opt out of it. This could be a problem. If LeBron leaves, this Lakers team is just going to go downhill even more. I tell you what. D'Angelo Russell also might want to raise after scoring 18 points per game. So he might be gone. And he's been one of the big trade assets because of contract-wise. And then these other players have player options. Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish. Their bench all has player options. I guarantee you they might want to just leave because, hey, why not? Let's go to a different team where they're going to give us a chance, where we could maybe win a championship. I don't know. None of those players are very good. I mean, Christian Wood can score the ball, but he can't play defense. Jackson Hayes, there's nothing to say about Jackson Hayes. And then Cam Reddish, he's the kind of player that everybody says, oh, he's still got potential. Well, it's been about 5 years in the NBA. It's kind of hard to see the potential. But yeah, no, I don't understand why the Lakers have been scapegoating coaches, players. Like last year was Westbrook. This year's Darvin Ham. What's next year going to be? Like, who's going to be the scapegoat next year? I mean, you can't expect to be good if you're always just going to be blaming other people. You know, you guys they got to come together as one, and they got to become a team. They got to build that chemistry. You can't build chemistry when you trade all your players away, when you bring in 20 new players in the offseason. Obviously, that's not possible, but anyways, you know what I mean. Like, the Lakers need to be able to build a team that's not just feasible now. They need to build a team for the future. You can't just bring in all these veterans and expect them to be able to play 2 to 3 years and win championships. That's just not going to happen. The Lakers need to be able to draft some players and build up through the draft while also using LeBron and AD. Okay, maybe you trade for a star every once in a while, but you already have Austin Reeves. You just have to build that continuity. You have to build that chemistry, and it's not going to work if you keep trying to trade them. Overall, let's get that out of the way. Lakers, have fun in Cancun while the Nuggets are continuing to play. It wasn't even a close series. I don't know why everybody was freaking out about that series. Anyways, thank you for tuning into this episode. I apologize for not uploading earlier. I had some technical issues with cameras and stuff, so we're back. I'm hoping. I also had some finals for school, so that's why I haven't been able to upload very frequently. I've been just trying to finish school. But we're done now. We're on summer break, so we're going to be spending a lot more time on this podcast. So thank you guys for being patient and just continuing to support me. If you have anything, like any advice or anything about me on camera or anything, or if I should adjust my camera to a higher angle, lower angle, I don't know. Let me know. I'm always willing to hear advice from you. I love to hear advice because I like to get better at what I'm doing here, and I want to get better. So, and spread the news about this podcast on YouTube. And if you're also listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing week. God bless. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode.